Hello, friends. Are you ready?
What's for dinner?
I'm hungry.
Yum, 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 yum.
Delicious.
Let's go, everybody.
Yay!
Oh, gosh. Am I on?
Yeah. Camera, lights, action.
Greek orange chocolate swirls. Roxakia. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Zoe's Blind Kitchen Corner. As always, zoesblindkitchencorner@gmail.com. Whose blind life is it anyway @gmail.com. Those are the emails where I can be reached. You can comment in the section below. You can ask me questions, clarifications, request recipes, say hello, whatever you desire. Remember that my episodes are aired on Victor Gouvea's channel, which is called Whose Blind Life Is It Anyway? Remember that through Whose Blind Life Is It Anyway, you can watch us on Facebook, like and share that page. You can watch us on Twitter @BlindWho's, and podcasts everywhere like Spotify, Apple, Anchor, etc., etc., etc. Okie dokie. Today, we're making a dessert. It's dessert time, and you guys know that I'm really happy when I make dessert. We are making a Greek traditional dessert. It comes from the north part of Greece, from a city called Thessaloniki. I think I've talked to you guys about it before. Thessaloniki is the second largest city in Greece. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful city. I've spent much time there. So this particular recipe, of course, there's two versions of it. There's the vegan version and there's the non-vegan version. Of course, there are quite a bit of recipes, quite a few recipes of this dessert. Today, we're making the vegan version. So these are called Roxakia, Roxakia, Roxakia. They're individual desserts. It's not a cake, it's not a pie, they're individual. They kind of remind me the shape of maybe cinnamon rolls, but of course are much different. They're not cinnamon rolls. Now I have to tell you that Greek traditional desserts, the most tradition type is called siropiasta. I can't even translate that in English. Siropiasta. I don't know. What that means is we make a lot of desserts where the dessert itself doesn't really have, it either has no sugar in it or it has very little sugar, and you make up a syrup, and when the dessert comes out of the oven, you pour the syrup on top, and that's what gives it the sweetness. There are literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of recipes for siropiasta. For example, baklava is considered a siropiasto. Like a certain type of walnut cake. There's a whole bunch. Orange pie, revani. These are all siropiasta glica, and we will eventually make all of these. One, because we love dessert. So anyways, let's get to our ingredients because there's quite a bit. It might seem overwhelming because of the amount of ingredients, but believe me, it's not. Actually, there is a hard part to this recipe, and the hard part is the rolling out and shaping of these little buns. I will show you. Okay, so right here, I've got 520 grams of all-purpose flour. Next to that over here, I've got 25 grams of cocoa powder. You want to use raw cacao powder, you want to use Dutch process, it's up to you. I don't care. You've got another 25 grams of flour in another bowl. Here, I've got 220 grams of freshly squeezed orange juice. Then I've got, and these ingredients, if I make a mistake while I'm telling you them, don't worry, they'll be in the description box. I've got rind of 1 orange, which I have cling wrap on it because I don't want it to go hard. Back here, I have 200 grams of corn oil. You can use, for example, sunflower oil. but I'm using corn oil. Then I have all these little bowls. This particular bowl right here has 20 grams of rum. Now, let's stop on that note for a second. This dirt, I am starting again. This particular dessert is made with Greek cognac. Cognac is sweet. It gives it a beautiful smell, a beautiful taste. Unfortunately, when I went to get my ingredients out today, I realized I ran out of I ran out of cognac. So you really should use cognac. But if you're like me in a bind and you don't have it, use rum like I am, or a liqueur, anything. You can even use a cherry liqueur. You can use, as my cameraman suggested, amaretto. You can use like anything. I'm using rum, okay? But the actual recipe calls for 20 grams of cognac. Okay, so we have the cognac. Here we have 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Here I have, and in the ground cinnamon, I've added 2 pinches of salt. Here I have 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And then here I have 10 grams of sugar. Here I have 8 grams of yeast. Okay. And then over here, I've got 300 grams of sugar, a cinnamon stick. I've got half a peel of half a lemon, and I've got juice of half a lemon, and in my pot I've got 300 grams of water. Okay, so that's all our ingredients. We're gonna get started. Just grabbing a wooden spoon. Okay, and we're gonna start with our syrup, because our syrup needs to cool down. I'm gonna turn on my burner. So I've got my 300 grams of water, because the syrup has to be cold and our buns have to be scorching. They have to be hot out of the oven. Okay, so we're going to start with this, because by the time we make our dough, let it rise, shape it, cut it, put it on the pans, this will be more than, it'll be cold. Okay, so right off the bat, I'm going to remove my cinnamon stick for a second from the sugar. I'm going to add in to my 300 grams of water, I'm going to add in 300 grams of sugar. Thank you. And stir this up. Start stirring. I have my heat on high. Just for a bit. We're going to turn down to medium. Start stirring to dissolve the sugar. Add in your cinnamon stick. Just throw it in, which I just did. And I don't know if the cameraman caught it because I was quick. Yeah, just stir. Add in your peel of half a lemon. I cut a lemon in half. I squeezed out the juice, and I've added in the whole peel inside. When this comes to a boil, you're going to let it boil for on medium for 3 minutes. You don't want to stir when this comes to a boil. So you can stir. If you're not sure when your sugar has dissolved, don't worry about it. You can stir up until when this comes to a boil. Now I'm going to turn it down to medium, because this should not be on high. So I've turned it down to medium because I'm already hearing noises, and I just want to make sure I don't burn my, whatchamacallit. At the end of the 3 minutes, that's when we're going to add in our lemon juice. Okay, you're not going to add it in now. So I need to wait for this to come to a boil. When it comes to a boil, I'm going to turn it down to medium, and I will come back. Okay, guys, we've got about 30 seconds left on our timer. So again, I stir until I kind of heard that bubbles are starting. I stopped stirring even a little before that. It came to a boil. As you can see, the timer's counting down. And I let it boil for 3 minutes. Turning off my heat, turn off my timer. And now add in your juice of half a lemon. And there's no reason, don't worry about it, just leave it now. Now, I'm going to remove it off the burner because we want this to cool down. If I leave it on the burner, it's going to take longer. So I have a stainless steel trivet. And I'm just going to put it there so it can cool down, okay? So now we're going to continue on with our recipe. The first thing I want to do is I want to warm up my orange juice a little bit. And I forgot to set my microwave to 30 seconds. So I'm going to get the cameraman. Can you set it for 30 seconds? I don't even have my glasses with me right now because if I had my glasses, I'd be able to do it, but that's okay.
Press it.
Yeah. Okay, so while that's warming up, I'm going to get out a nice big bowl. Remember, this is 220 grams of freshly squeezed orange juice. So we're just going to wait for the 30 seconds, which I'm sure is almost up. There we go. I'm going to grab the orange juice out of the microwave. Let me see. Yeah, it's nice. It's warm. It's not scorching hot. It's warm. So add this orange juice to your big bowl. And add in your yeast and your 10 grams of sugar. Oops.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay. You want to go on this side? What is it that you... Okay.
The light.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to add in my 10 grams of sugar and I'm going to stir. No, sorry, my 8 grams of yeast. And I'm going to stir. And I'm going to add in my 10 grams of sugar and stir. Mix this all up. And I can smell the yeast. So I'm just mixing to dissolve sugar and yeast and... Okay. We got to wait about 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes for the yeast to soften. So I'm going to be back in 10 when my yeast is softened. Okay, guys, 10 minutes has gone by. And we've let our yeast soften in our warm orange juice with our 10 grams of sugar. I'm going to add in our 20 grams of rum. Everything we add in, we stir. I'm going to add in our 200 grams of corn oil. I'm going to add in our 2 pinches of salt and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Is it all out?
Oh, a little bit. Thin accelerants.
Okay. So I'm stirring, continuing to stir. Add in our 1 teaspoon of, see how it changed the color because of the cinnamon? Add in your 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Add in your rind of 1 orange. And the only thing we have left is our 25 grams of flour, 25 grams of cocoa powder, but also our 520 grams of all-purpose flour. So now start adding in your 520 grams of flour. A little at a time. That was quite a bit that I let in. And constantly stir. You want this all to become a dough now. You want it to form like a ball around your spoon. I don't know if you can hear that. That little tiny sound it's making, it's the flour drinking up all the liquids. Mix, 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 mix. Mix, mix, mix. Scrape your bowl, the sides. It doesn't matter. You're going to need this. It's getting tougher to stir because we're adding in the flour. I'm vigorously stirring, and my hand is exhausted already. But hey, this is a dessert without a mixer, right? Add in more flour. Soon we're going to put our hands in this because it's getting really tough to stir. Yeah, and this is the time. I just can't do it with a spoon anymore. Some people do, but my hands are hurting me. I have arthritis in my hands. So it's harder for me to stir, so I'd rather use my hands now. So I'm just getting whatever's off my... I was just stirring with a regular tablespoon. So I'm just scraping off whatever's on the spoon. And I'm going to add in the rest of the flour. Topping it so that all the flour falls out. It's empty.
Mm-hmm.
And now use your hands. Stir this all up. Scrape the bowl, scrape the sides, scrape the bottom with your fingers. And start kneading it a little and stirring it. You want the dough to drink up all the flour. This should not be like all floury, which it is right now. So just keep stirring and kneading and scraping the bowl. It's already come into it's like a dough ball now. And I'm kneading it and I'm scraping the sides. And the more you knead it, the softer it's going to become, meaning it'll drink up the flour. So now I can actually pick it up, like it's a ball of dough in my hand, but it's pretty floury and there's still flour in the bowl. So knead it with your hands, with your knuckles, fold and push down with your knuckles. You make like punching sort of motions. Pardon me. In a way, it's a very easy recipe. I'll tell you, the hard part is the rolling out. You'll see. Now, because we're going to roll this into a log, it's okay if it's got some imperfections. You'll see when we get there. So I'm still trying to get the flour incorporated in We have to get it all in. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to roll it out, but we're almost there. Like maybe a minute or so of kneading right now. And I can feel the dough is oily because now the flour, pardon me, is being, the liquids have absorbed the flours and now I can feel the oil on the dough. It's a nice soft dough. Okay, that's good enough for now. Set this aside for a second. Yeah, I need my scale. I need a dinner plate. Put the dinner plate on the scale.
Hello.
Pick up the ball of dough.
It's ready.
Put it on the dinner plate.
988 grams.
Okay. So it's 988 grams. We need to split this in two. So half of 900 is 450 and 80, 40, 450, 60, 70, 80, 494. That's what we need. So pick it up. Whoops. Cut it in half, approximate. Wait till she says 0 grams, which she just did. Put the piece, half the dough on there.
435 grams.
So this one says 435. Let's try the other one. Wait, I took it off the scale. 0 grams.
551 grams.
Right, so this is bigger. So I'm going to pinch off a piece.
0 grams.
And I'm going to stick it onto the other piece that I have in the bowl.
505 grams.
Okay, this is still too much. It's 505 grams. I'm going to pinch off a little
0
more.
grams.
Put it back on the scale when she says 0.
496 grams.
Okay, this one now says 496. So I'm going to pick it up, put it in the bowl.
0
She
grams.
said 0 grams because I took the dough off. I'm going to put the other ball on now.
493 grams.
So this one says 493. So I'm going to pinch off just a touch from the other one. Try to get it as even as possible. I'm going to put it on.
0 grams.
Wait till she says 0. I picked up the dough ball. I added a pinch. And I'm going to put the dough back on.
498 grams.
Ah, 498. Let's see what the first one says now.
0 grams. 492 grams.
Yeah, this one says 492. Now I'm going to pinch off a piece from here. This is,
489 grams.
yeah, I pinched off way too much. So,
489 grams.
so it'll take a while to get it exactly
Yeah,
even.
great.
I may not get it perfectly even.
499 grams.
Yeah, that says 499. Let's pinch off a piece.
497 grams.
That. Pinch off a touch more.
497 grams.
Okay, let me go back to 0 so I can make sure.
0 grams. 491 grams.
That says 491 now. Let's try the other ball.
0 grams. 498 grams.
Yeah. So, it's going to take me a while. Sorry, guys. Bear with me.
496 grams. 495 grams.
Okay, that says 495. So, we should be close now. Let's see. I'm going to put the other one on.
495 grams.
Okay. So, basically, we're getting approximately the same reading. 495, 495. You have to play with it.
492 grams.
Yeah, now it says 492. Let me try the other one again. One more time.
0 grams.
I'm such a perfectionist when it comes to this stuff.
495 grams.
Yeah, I'm going to pinch off When I say I'm pinching off a smidge,
494
in
grams.
this case, I'm pinching off like lentil size.
0 grams.
All right.
493 grams.
Okay. We're pretty much even. 493, 494, somewhere there. You can't be exact. So I'm going to set the one ball of dough aside. I'm going to remove the dinner plate with the ball of dough off my scale.
539 grams. Goodbye.
Turn off the scale. Can you put it, because my hands are really oily? Okay, so basically, guys, what I was doing is I cut the dough in half approximately, and whenever she would say 0 grams, I would put a ball of dough, weigh it. If it was too much, I'd take it off the scale, pinch off a piece, put it on the second ball of dough, weigh it, so on and so forth. Went back and forth until I got an approximate. Now, put the dinner plate away. You don't need it anymore. Now, this ball of dough, the one ball of dough, put it on your counter, flatten it, just with your hands. Flatten it. Take your chocolate and add it in the middle of the dough. Your cocoa powder. Sorry, not chocolate, cocoa powder. Okay? Add all of it. Fold the dough over onto the chocolate. Close it in. Close it in on all 4 sides. And now knead your dough. You want your dough to absorb all the chocolate. So now you're making half the dough, you're making it into a chocolate piece of dough. And turn it over and punch it and flip and fold and turn it over until you incorporate all the chocolate. This should be a perfectly chocolate dough that's absorbed, pardon me, all the chocolate. And there's some on my counter. I can see it, I can feel it. So I'm just going to keep kneading until it's all absorbed. And it's already turned color because I have a little bit of contrast vision. So I can see that it's dark in color. And there's still a few specks of chocolate on my counter. And if I can't get it all in, you know, I wouldn't worry for a couple of specks. But try your best. Keep kneading until you get a nice, smooth, elasticy, soft chocolate dough. So you got to put a little bit of arm power, and sweat a little bit, like I am right now. It's pretty much soaked up. A little bit here.
Yeah.
Yeah, just keep going until we get this all in. And like I said, even if we don't get it all in, like you might lose half a teaspoon. And I'm just rolling it around the counter. I'm punching it. I'm folding it. I'm flipping it. Doesn't the chocolate, I don't know, can you smell it? The chocolate and the cinnamon?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I pretty much showed you how to do it, so I'm going to put you on hold because I have to keep kneading this until I get all the chocolate off the counter and into my dough. So I'm going to put you on hold and I'm going to come back when this is complete. Okay, guys, I pretty much kneaded all the chocolate that I can get into it in. There's like, I don't know, a quarter, maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon, like just some smudges on the counter. I've gotten it all in. It probably needs about at least 8 to 10 minutes of kneading. Maybe a little less, depending, okay? And I put the chocolate dough. I'm just washing my hands while I'm talking to you because I need to get the chocolate and everything off my hands to get to the next ball of dough. So I put the chocolate dough in a bowl. Okay, need need to dry my hands well. Just gonna move the chocolate dough aside, because now I need to grab a Lysol wipe. I need to get anything that's off on my counter off, because now we need to make a white dough. So if there's any chocolate on your counter, you need to get rid of it. So what I'm doing is I'm wiping it down with a Lysol wipe, but while it's wet with the Lysol, you need to wipe up this wetness. You need to dry it. You need to get rid of the Lysol off the counter. So the Lysol wipe will get rid of your chocolate, but you need to also get rid of the Lysol ingredients because you don't want that in your dough. Okay. Very dry. Make sure your counter is completely dry. Make sure chocolate is gone, Lysol is gone. Make sure it's completely dry. Pick up your other ball of dough, just like we did with the chocolate. Open it up with your hands, flatten it out, and add your 25 grams of flour in the middle. And now we're going to do the same thing with the chocolate. We're going to fold it over, encase the flour in there. And we're going to knead for about 10 minutes until all this flour is incorporated. And we'll be back when that's complete. So now I'm just kneading again. I'm folding and turning and pulling and, pardon me. I'm pulling and kneading and folding and whatever you're going to knead until you get all this flour, until you get a nice, smooth, elasticy, soft dough. Okay, so we'll be back in about 10 minutes. Okay, guys, I've been kneading probably for about 5 minutes. So I said 10, but I think 5 is good enough. All the flour has been soaked in. I've got a nice dough. It's elasticy, it's soft, just like the chocolate one. It took me about 5 minutes. So put it in a bowl. Actually, I don't want this bowl because this bowl has flour. I need to grab, do we have another clean bowl like that? Okay, so we've got our dough, our white dough in one bowl, and we've got, I'm out of breath from the kneading. And we've got our chocolate dough in another bowl. So 2 different bowls. Cover them just with clean kitchen towels and let them rise and double in size for approximately an hour. Our syrup is cooling down during this time. That's it. So we'll be back in an hour. Let me set the timer. And we'll be back in an hour when these are done rising. See you then. Okay, guys, our dough has been sitting for about, this one is the white dough. Our dough has been sitting actually a little more than an hour, maybe an hour and 20 minutes. Not because it wasn't ready at 1 hour, just because I was busy and I had something to do. So I've uncovered the chocolate dough and I'm actually, because I have my oven preheating, I'm gonna remove the white dough from on top of my stove. Okay, so we've got our chocolate dough. Take it out of the bowl, put it on your clean, spectacular clean counter. Punch it down because it's all risen. Okay, just punch it down. Just knead it a few times. Now, get our dinner plate out again. We need to separate the chocolate dough into 2 pieces. This chocolate dough is your filling. Okay, so let's weigh this.
Hello.
So we need probably, if I remember correctly, about 240
It's
grams.
ready. 1 pound.
Oh.
2.1 ounces.
I need grams.
514 grams.
So 514, God knows why, but anyways, we're gonna
0 grams.
just gonna cut the dough in half, weigh one ball,
237 grams.
237. This does look bigger, but let's
0
see.
grams. 276
Yeah.
grams.
So I'm gonna remove a little bit from this because it said 277.
0
Gonna
grams.
put it back on the scale.
248 grams.
Okay, that says 248. I'm gonna add the little piece of dough that I pinched off to the other ball, and I'm gonna weigh it.
0 grams. 262 grams.
Okay, I'm gonna pinch off a piece because it's 262.
0 grams. 255 grams.
Okay, we should be good. That says 255, and I added the piece I pinched off. I added it to the first ball. I'm gonna reweigh it.
0 grams. 257 grams.
Right. So one is 255, one is 257. I'm not gonna sit and struggle for 1 gram. Let's just put
Goodbye.
our scale aside. Now you need to shape each one of these balls into a long log. So just put it on your counter and put your hands, both hands on it, and then roll and spread your hands out. Roll and spread your hands out. Try to make it even. You know what? We're blind. We might not be able to make it that even. Try your best. Okay? So I'm rolling it out. Now, it looks like the dough is cracking a little bit. So every so often, just squeeze it. See? It looks like it's cracking. As I roll, see, it's opening up. That's okay. Just squeeze it. So I'm rolling, making a log. Trying to stretch it slowly. It's opening up a little bit, but I'm not worried. Now, this should be about 30 centimeters. How do you know what's 30 centimeters? Well, I have a baking pan here that the short end of my baking pan is 26 centimeters. And this is just a touch longer. So it's approximately 30. It is approximately 30. I'm just going to try to even it out a little bit because my edge is thin. But please don't worry. Don't be so picky. Let's see now. Yeah, I would say that's about 30. It might be 28. Doesn't matter. Okay, we've got a nice long chocolate log. Set this one aside and open up the next one. Give it a few folds and knead a little bit. Okay, put it flat on your counter. Not flat. Shape it into a fat log, like a bun, and start rolling this one. Your hands are in the middle, and as you roll, you pull your hands to the left and to the right. And I have my oven preheating on quick bake at 180. And I have a cookie sheet ready with parchment paper. Now you might have to re-roll these a little bit because of the yeast. They'll start to rise on you. Let's see how long that one is. I'm comparing to the other one. Actually, this log turned out much nicer. Is that?
Mm-hmm.
This one turned out nicer. Yeah, a little more. And like I said, while you're rolling, if your dough looks like it's opening up a little, just squeeze it together where it's opening up. That's pretty good. Okay, let's put these two aside. Now we're gonna separate the white dough. So grab the scale again with the dinner plate on it so that you can put your dough on. I'm gonna pull it out of the white bowl. Pull the white dough out of the bowl. Put it on my counter. Punch it down because it's all risen. Knead it a little bit. sometimes the dough, when you let it rise, the top part becomes crusty. But as soon as you knead it, the crustiness goes away. Okay,
Hello.
let's weigh it.
It's ready. 513 grams.
Okay, this says 513. So again, the same thing like before. We need to separate the dough, make it into 2 balls, and weigh each ball.
0 grams. 244 grams.
So my first ball says 244 grams. I took it off the scale.
0
She
grams.
says 0. I'm going to put the second ball on.
269 grams.
So this one's 269. So I took it off the scale, and I'm going to pinch off a piece, and I'm going to re-weigh it with the piece
0 grams.
to see what it is after I removed a piece.
252
Okay,
grams.
she says 252. So let me weigh the first ball again now. I've added that little piece that I removed. I'm going to weigh the second ball, the first ball.
0 grams. 260 grams.
Little bigger, so I'm going to pinch off a little piece.
257 grams.
Okay, we should be good, but I'm just going to re-weigh them both
0 grams.
just to make sure.
258 grams.
Yeah, so my mom was outside and she needs to pass by us. Say hello, Mom.
Hi.
256
As
grams.
pezzetas estão
Mama, Mama.
Okay.
0
Okay, so I've
grams.
got 2 pieces of dough. One is 256, one is 258. Again, I'm not going to bother with 1 gram. So I put the dinner plate in the sink,
24 grams. Goodbye.
turn off the scale, put it somewhere, wherever I find a free spot. Now, this is the hard part. The recipe says that you should roll out your dough into a rectangle. And it says that you should roll it out to 30 by 40 centimeters. Believe me, that's hard. But I've got a pan here, just a baking sheet, a non-stick baking sheet. We've measured it out and it's 38 by 26. So it's 4 centimeters off on one side and 2 centimeters off on the other side. If I can get this into a 38 by 26 rectangle, I'm fine. And I'm going to use my baking sheet as a guide. So I've put my ball of dough in the middle of the baking sheet and I'm flattening it out with my hands. And I'm going to try with a rolling pin. I may have to use a tiny one, we'll see. I'm going to try to roll it to, that's my oven preheating. I'm going to try to roll it to cover the whole baking sheet. Okay, we're getting there. I'm going to use the small one now. I don't know. We might be able to, we might not be able to. We'll see. It isn't lost. I'm also using my hands to help. Just using a tiny, tiny, I mean tiny rolling pin. And I'm trying to spread it out to all the corners. It's a little hard, I'm telling you. But even if I can't get it to exactly the rectangle, I'm not worried. This is not lost. And this is an oily dough. I would say we're halfway there, but we still have quite a bit. So I'm, like I said, I'm using my pan as a guide. I'm about 3/4, I would say. You might have to turn your pan. Now, you guys may be better at rolling than me. You know? And I wouldn't worry if it's exactly a rectangle. That isn't a problem. So what I'm doing now, I've got thick edges on my long sides. So I'm stretching it with my hands because obviously I can't get the rolling pin right to the edges. I'm stretching. I'm stretching. See, it's getting there. And wherever you feel more dough, that's where you should be concentrating. I got a hole, that's okay. Just gonna fold it over. And re-stretch. I'm gonna pick it up actually, and I'm gonna turn it this way now. Let's see if I can do a better job on the counter. Because I got a hole now and that's not good. Okay, let's try using the big rolling pin. And I am still going to use my guide. Still going to use my pan as a guide. So for example, the short end, we're good. The long end, we need a little bit more. And I'm using my small pin and my large one. Using my small one for the edges. Let's see how far we are. It's not a rectangle, it's round. Pretty good. A little bit more. You kind of want it all to be the same thickness. Now, if you're off a little bit, don't worry about it. And don't worry about these imperfections. So we've got imperfections because it's not a rectangle. Good. And a little bit here. Good. And a little bit here. Good. And a little bit here. Good. And there's a thick part. Sorry, I got to go on the other side. But Jeff is good. He'll follow me. Just evening it out. Okay. And I got a hole. That's okay. All right. Pick up your one log. Put it on your dough. My dough is, the one I rolled out is bigger than the one that I filled. So we're good. Pick up the edge of the white dough and put it on top of your chocolate dough. And you want to roll a tight log. A tight log. Now, the edges, you can fold in and roll. And your imperfect dough is not going to show. You know why? Because we have a perfect log now. Look at that. Now the seam, if you want, you can add a little bit of water or pinch the dough together so that your buns, cookies, whatever you want to call these, they're not cookies. These kind of buns don't open. Put it seam side down. And I need a knife. I'm gonna grab a knife. about 2 centimeters. I think that's 2 centimeters. Cut every 2 centimeters. For me, I used my fingers. It's 3 fingers. So that's 1 piece. I put my 3 fingers. I put my knife and I cut right through. That's 2. See, you can see the chocolate in the middle. That's 2 pieces. Now, if you want to cut them just a touch thinner, you can. That's 3. I think I'm making mine too big. I would say, yeah. I'm going to go 2 fingers now. Yeah, because I made them too big. Okay. 2 fingers. That's 1. Whoops. Let's go 2 fingers. That's 2. This one I'm not going to cut because it's the edge. I'm going to cut this in half. That might be a little bit. 1, 2, 3. These are much fatter though. 4. I should do the other one better. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's cut this one in half. You should get about 12 out of each piece. Well, that one's a small one. That's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But this one's too fat for me to cut it. What do you think?
Yeah.
That one's too fat because it's also the corner. You know what? We'll just leave these ones, huh? Okay. I'm going to put them on my baking sheet, which is covered in parchment paper. 1. Maybe the other ones will be easier. 2, 3. I'm leaving about 3 fingers apart from each little roll. I made some too big. That's okay. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6, 7. 8, 9. We'll do better with the other one. Okay, I'm going to put you on hold so I can roll out the other one, and we'll be back. Okay, guys, all our Roxakia are on our pan, which is a cookie sheet with parchment paper. Now, because I made the mistake and said I'll cut on every 3 fingers, some of them, unfortunately, are bigger than other ones. So I might have to check on them so I don't burn the smaller ones. So go every 2 fingers. I got 19 pieces, but like I said, I ended up cutting some at the 3-piece mark. I should have cut at every 2, whatever. I should have gotten about 24 pieces, 26, somewhere there. Anyways, doesn't matter. They're on the pan. Cover them and let them rise again for 30 minutes. And then we're going to bake them. So we're going to let them rise for, like I said, 30 minutes. That's our second rise. And then we're going to bake them. So we'll be back in 30 minutes to put them in the oven. Pardon me, what a way to start a video with a cough. Sorry about that. Okay, so I've uncovered my Roxakia. And like I said, because I didn't cut them even, they're a little bit off, but that's okay. This is the second rise. I will check on them just so that I don't burn this little tiny guy over here. I doubt it, but anyways. Okay, so oven's preheated, 355 or 180, 355 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius. Quick bake or convect bake or air bake, whatever you want to call it. Middle rack. So we're going to put them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Oh, jeez. Oh, I didn't move the Can I have the gloves? I forgot to move my scada. So I preheated the oven, but I forgot to put my my rack in the proper position. So I have to put my gloves on because it's scorching hot. 1, 2, 3. Let's see if I can do it with the gloves. Very hard. 1, 2. I think that's 3. That should be 3, eh? 1, 2. Yeah, that's 3. All right. See? That's Zoe being unprepared. All right, let's put our Roxakia in the oven. Like I said, quick bake. 355 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're going to set our timer for 20 minutes. And timer's working, and we'll be back in 20. Okay, guys, I'm taking them out of the oven. I did check on them before I went on camera. Mine were ready in 15 minutes. They're nice and golden brown, and they're ready. Now, it could be that my oven is a little bit stronger. That's okay. Let's let them cool on the baking. Mama, we're on camera. Mommy, we're on camera.
Oh, sorry.
So my mom wants to know what the cameraman thinks of them. Cameraman, what do you think of them?
I think they look delicious, and I think that's all mine.
Yeah, they look done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so too. They feel done.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna let them cool for about 5 minutes, and we're gonna start. Did I press start on the timer? Can you
No, it's still counting from the other one.
No, I just set it now. Does it say 4 minutes and something?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's working. So I've got my syrup here, which is completely cooled down. I've stuck my fingers in it because I removed the lemon peel and the cinnamon stick. Okay? And I have a small rimmed baking sheet here. Just gonna wipe it because it's a little wet because I washed it. Syrup is totally cooled down. I've got that next to my pot. Now, there's 2 ways you can do this. You can either pick one up, put it in the cold syrup, wiggle it around, turn it over, wiggle it around, and then put it on the baking sheet and do all of them that way. Or you can put them all together with half of, like a hairline of them not touching each other. So almost close together, almost touching, and just pour all the syrup all over it. You can do it either way you want. I was thinking about while we're waiting for this to cool down, I just want to tell you guys something. I was actually thinking about the rolling and how my idea to do it in the baking pan didn't actually work out. But nobody can tell. If you look at them and the cameraman has showed you what they look like for those who are sighted, you can't tell that I didn't do a perfectly rectangle 30 by 40 rectangle, dough rolled out. Yeah, I just totally confused you guys. But anyways, you can't tell that I didn't do it perfectly. So that means blind people, don't worry about it. You can do this. I have thought of another way for you guys to do this. And what I'm going to do is, because I'm going to make these again, because, well, they're delicious, I'm going to finish off this video, and then I'm going to add to this video my new way of doing it, which will be easier. And I will let you guys, you will see it attached to the video that I'm actually taping right now. So when I say goodbye to you guys here, I'm actually, right after the goodbye, don't go away. because there'll be probably another piece of video that's going to show you my new way of rolling these out and making them. And believe me, you're going to thank me for it because it's going to be much easier. And I should have thought of it before, but I didn't, but that's okay. Okay, we've got a few minutes left, but I'm going to start anyway. I'm going to pick up this little guy here in the corner, and I'm going to just put him right in. Just put him in, wiggle him around, turn him over, wiggle him on the sides, everywhere. Get syrup all over him, and put him on the baking sheet. So that's the one way you can do it. What you can do is, you can do this with all of them, and then whatever's left in the pan, pour it over, which is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to put them almost touching, but not quite. Okay? So I'm on my third one already. And I'm wiggling it around and turning it and the sides. And these are going to become very nice and juicy. And another one. Actually, I'm going to put two in at the same time. And I'm flipping them over and flipping and turning them on their sides and rolling them around and flipping, lifting up, and putting the next one on. Now I've got syrup all over my hands. Can you turn that off for me, the timer? And while the cameraman is turning off my timer, I'm taking the other one out. Okay, and another two go in. Actually, here, another three. Alrighty. Now the ones that are smaller, they're a little bit harder. The ones that are bigger, they're a little bit softer. Okay, but 15 minutes was enough time. But it doesn't matter because you're adding this syrup to them. And this syrup is going to soften them up. So even if yours are a little bit tinier and they're a little bit harder, don't worry about it. And I'm halfway done already. I think I'm halfway done. I didn't actually count. Okay, and I'm not worried if I don't get syrup like on every single side or whatever, even though I'm flipping on its sides, I'm wiggling it around, I'm flipping on the top, flipping on the bottom, and picking up and putting on the thing. I'm not worried because I'm going to pour all the syrup over. And the smell, I have to tell you, and none of my Roxakia opened up. Well, this one did a little, but I mean the edge here where you pinch the dough. And what I did is actually, before I put them in, let's see if I can, no, that's too big. What I did is I got a little bit of water and I wiped the edges to stick the dough together, but I guess I didn't do that one really well. That's okay. I'm not selling these at a bakery. They're going to go in my cameraman's stomach, in my husband's stomach, mommy's stomach, my stomach. And I have 1, 2, 3, the big guy over here, 4, and I've got 1 left. Oh, no, 2 left. Okay, let's do these. And I'm going to have to make more room here. So I might have to have them touching a little bit. That's okay. They're not going to really stick together. 2, 3. So what I'm doing now is I'm actually pushing them and getting them to touch because I need more room on the baking sheet. And while I was talking, I had submitted 1, 2, 3, 4 in here, and I was just letting them sit in the syrup. 1, 2, yeah, this guy's a little softer because he was the biggest one. That's okay. And put in the last 2. So, how long did that take me? I don't know, 5 minutes? Okay. Oh, I can't fit this one.
in the corner.
Yeah, but I've got one more. Those baking sheets a little tiny. Let's see if we can move them around somehow.
Put that in the middle.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there we go. So I got them all on. So,
Paper?
I'm sorry?
You need some paper?
No. Look how beautiful they look. Even though my rolling out wasn't fantastic. Pick up your pot of syrup and just pour it over. Now I need to use my hands to feel. Don't worry if you don't get it exactly on all of them. We're going to be turning these. Because I'm afraid to go towards the corners. Okay. All the syrup is on there. So now, flip them. Flip them upside down. Flip them. And let them sit for a while. And then come back and flip them again. Until you feel that all the syrup has been absorbed and they've cooled down completely. So I'm just flipping all of them. How long is this taking me? Not long at all. I'm going to let them sit for about 5 minutes and I'm going to turn them again. And when these cool down completely, then we're going to eat them. So that's it for our video today. I may add the extra piece of video that I told you guys that I thought of a different way, a better way to make it easier for the rolling. Because I always come up with tips and tricks. And I'm good at that. And I'm sure that I can do it. So watch until I say goodbye. Because then there might be an extra piece of video. Okay? And that's our recipe for today. Absolutely delicious. Cinnamon, chocolate, orange. Delicious. Delicious, delicious, delicious. And these Roxakia, they're going to soak up all that syrup. They're going to soak it up and they're going to become juicy and soft and melt in your mouth. Okay, so that's our recipe. If you need any clarifications or anything, you guys know where to reach me by now. Love you guys. See you on the next episode. And that's it. Roxakia. Bye. I am your host, Zoe Fiogos. With sincere love and gratitude, I thank you for watching Zoe's Blind Kitchen Corner.